Hello everybody and welcome. This is Kat and look what I've got here. I've got the July 2020 Scrawler box. Let's open it and see what's inside. And the moment of truth. Ooh, this is interesting. I like the colors. Oh yeah, let's have a look. So we've got the art supplies here in the patch. I'll open them later. And this is the ScrawlrZine. And oh gosh, isn't this beautiful? This piece is just so lovely. The featured artist for this month is KMIECIK. I'm gonna leave her social links below because I'm pretty sure I butchered the name. The paper in this month's box comes in the form of a pad, which I do appreciate. Thank you, ScrawlrBox. We have 8 sheets of A5. This is 300 GSM paper. It's cold pressed, which means we're going to be working with some water-based paints or markers or pens. We'll have to see. The paper looks like it's quite rough in texture, so that's a bit scary to me, but we'll see. Right, let's see what ScrawlrBox prepared for us this month. Looks like a very grey tone palette. So this is the sticker. They always match the sticker to the artwork. So lovely. I do like the colors. They look well together. I don't know how well I can pull them off. And the art supply list, which I'll check in a moment. Next thing is a eraser. This is a Koh-I-Noor combined eraser with 2 parts. I haven't used one of these since I was in school. And the one I had in school wasn't too great. And the snack in this box is a candy which comes with some extra wrapping that I assume belongs to a different candy. I haven't had this candy before. I'll check it out and see what it tastes like. Okay, enough with that. Let's go to the art supplies. Ooh, we've got a pencil. This is a Derwent water-soluble sketching pencil. That's very interesting. I never had one of these before. The little brush symbol on the pencil shows that it's water-soluble, so you can add water to the pencil to dissolve the lead. This one is a 4B pencil, so the lead should be pretty soft and easy to apply. Okay, it looks like we have another pencil. Let's see what this one does. Oh, it's still a Derwent water-soluble pencil. It's got the brush mark and oh, this one is a 8B pencil, so that's the difference. It's basically the same brand but a different hardness to the lead. I don't know exactly if both of them were necessary. They are basically the same thing. They could have just gone with one of them, maybe the softer one. We also get a brush in this box, which I'm super happy about. I mean, I love brushes. Give me a brush and I'll be your friend forever. This one is a size 10. I can tell you by the intense yellow color that the bristles are synthetic. It's also flat. It's got something to hold it together, like the bristles are hard when you unpackage it. But I do like it. I am excited to try it out and see if it works well. The last items on the menu are these tubes of Derivan liquid pencil tubes. Now, I have no idea what that means. They say they are re-wettable, so I'm assuming it's some kind of graphite in a tube form that's pretty liquidy. And the colors we are given are a yellow, a grey and a blue. I have no idea what liquid pencil means. I'm super scared. Liquid pencil is an innovative graphite paint that allows you to create authentic graphite pencil effects and pencil sketches using a liquid medium. It can be thinned with water to allow for the softest of colors to be applied with a brush, nib or other tools. Okay, I'm none the wiser by reading that, but I guess it's one of those things you just have to try them out and see what they do. I'm gonna start by swatching the supplies really quickly. This is the 4B pencil and as far as I can see, it just behaves like a normal pencil so far. It's quite okay. The second one is the 8B and I can definitely see it's way more softer than the first one. Not necessarily darker, just softer. But the real test is when adding water and I can say it dissolves very well, so these pencils are really good quality. I want to try out this eraser and see how it works. First test on the dry pencil and see if it erases it well. And it does erase it, but not completely. You can still see some graphite left. Let's see the other end if it works better. And it does erase more, but you can still see a little bit of graphite left on the paper. I want to see if this eraser works any better with just a regular graphite pencil. So I'm using my mechanical pencil, and yes, absolutely, it does remove all the graphite. The liquid pencil tubes have a flip cap, but they are sealed, so we need to poke a hole in them. I'm using just a regular poker and yeah, paint goes everywhere. I'm gonna swatch the color directly from the tube because it's very liquidy. It's like no other paint I've ever used before. Also, the paint looks a bit shimmery and sparkly when you pick it up from the tube, but once you lay it on the paper, it's completely matte. The color I'm swatching here is the yellow, and I know it's quite a shock because it's nothing like a yellow, it's really a green khaki color. Here I'm swatching the blue color, which is not really a blue, it's really a grey with a tint of blue in it. I don't know what to say, I'm kind of disappointed. These colors do not match the names on the labels. This one that I'm swatching here is the grey, and this one is the only one that matches the label. The texture I got after the paints dried looked very much like graphite, so at least on that perspective the colors do live up to their names. But I'm also curious to see if they can behave like watercolors and if I can use them as such. And surprisingly they do, they disperse very well in water and they interact very well with each other on a wet surface. Okay, I think I have an idea of how these art supplies work and what I can do with them. The prompt for this month's challenge is Mother Nature, and I already have an idea of what I want to draw. So I traced the outline of my phone on the paper, and the reason why I did it off camera is because I'm filming with my phone, so obviously I couldn't record in the same time. Also, I did cheat a bit and I used my mechanical pencil for the sketch because the eraser, as we know, it's not erasing the Derwent pencils very well, and I needed something that can be easily erased if the sketch doesn't go the way I wanted. If you're wondering what does a phone have to do with Mother Nature, that's a very valid question. It will become a bit more apparent as I finish this sketch, but let me walk you through my idea and how I came up with it. The first thing that popped into my head when I read Mother Nature was the fact that most of us humans, we don't really have a very good relationship with Mother Nature. Many of us, me included, we live in busy towns and cities, and nature is not that prevalent in our habitat. So when we do go out in nature, we end up treating it like a tourist attraction. We take out our phones and we take photos and videos so we can take a bit of that nature back with us in the city. In some ways, we end up experiencing nature more through our phones than we do by experiencing it in real life. And this is what I was trying to capture with this illustration, the fact that us and Mother Nature are not really that close of a friends, and oftentimes it's the phone that facilitates that interaction. So what I'm drawing here is a hand holding a phone, and the phone displays a picture of a forest, and I'm trying to make the roots of the trees coming out of the phone and wrapping around the hand to symbolize that connection that we're trying to establish through our technology, because we lost touch with Mother Nature and we don't know how to reconnect with her, we don't know how to experience nature in real life as it was intended to be experienced. Oh boy, that came out way more philosophical than I intended it. I swear, when I thought about this idea, it wasn't that deep, it's just something that my brain came up with, and that's what I put on the paper without very much thought into it, to be honest. I'm really not the kind of artist who tries to put any kind of hidden meaning or symbolism in their art. My art is very simple, is whatever I want to draw or paint, and it rarely has any kind of deeper or hidden meaning. I know some people like to put some kind of social or political message in their art. I don't. I try to stay away from that as much as possible. Okay, back to what I'm doing. So I painted a couple of layers in the background of trees. Let's call them trees for now, because they don't really look like trees, and I'm trying to darken the colors as I approach the foreground. And what I was trying to achieve here is basically an aerial perspective. Aerial perspective basically means the idea that when you paint nature, the further away the plane is, the more desaturated and bluish the colors look, and as you approach the point of view, the colors become more focused, more saturated. This is basically an optic illusion, and it's caused by the amount of air that's between your eyes and the object you are looking at. So if you're looking into a very far away distance, obviously there will be a lot of air that comes in between, which filters the colors and the light that moves between you and the object you are viewing. Fun fact, many people think that Leonardo da Vinci is the one who came up with this technique. He is not. This technique existed way long before Leonardo da Vinci, but he utilized it a lot and he did perfect it. So if you look at his paintings, for example, look at Mona Lisa and the background, you will see what I'm talking about. Wow, and I think I bored you to death and everybody clicked off this video. Sorry about that. The point I was trying to make is that I tried to do the aerial perspective and it didn't quite work out the way I wanted it to, because I was trying to use the blue color in the background, which wasn't really blue, it's more like a gray color, and obviously it was too dark. I had to switch to the yellow one, which is not really yellow because it's green, so it was a big deal here. I struggled. It looks like a big mess right now. It's gonna kinda come together by the end of the video. video, but it's still not what I wanted it to be. Let's just say I wasn't able to put on the paper the beautiful image that I had in my mind. And that's not entirely because of the art supplies that I had to work with. No, the paints were actually very nice, I did enjoy them. They behaved like watercolors, but not really, but they were still very comfortable to work with. My struggles were mostly due to the fact that I have no experience with painting landscapes. This was never a subject that I had much interest in the past. I mostly draw people and animals, and I do enjoy doing still life as well, but nature was never really my strong point. For me, nature is something so beautiful and so full of emotion that no matter how much I try, I can't capture the same feeling when I put it on the paper. It's just so beautiful and so complex that you can't translate it into a piece of paper no matter how much you try. And it's not just me, I feel the same about anyone else who is trying to paint or draw nature. I'm not saying that other people are not talented or they can't do it, they do, but I feel that paintings of nature, they always lack that emotion that you get in real life. I guess you can make the same argument about any other form of art, whether it's portraits of people or animals or flowers, but for me personally, that feeling that something is missing from painting is way more striking when I try to paint or I view someone else's painting of a nature scene. And with that being said, if you are an artist who paints nature, please don't take my comment as a personal offense. It's not a reflection on you or anybody else, it's only a reflection on me as a person and as an artist. I'm the one who's incapable of painting nature, and I'm the one who's incapable of connecting with this form of art. And that's perfectly fine, we are all different people, we have different interests, and different forms of art speak to us, and that's something we should all acknowledge, embrace, and be open about it. That's why once I was done with the trees, I was super happy to work on the hand, because that was something I was comfortable with. I only used the yellow/green color to color the hand, and the way I went about it was to dilute the color with a lot of water and get some very light washes, which I built up on top in order to get some kind of shading and saturation. In my one and only previous ScrawlrBox video, I had a rating system where I would rate the supplies on a scale from 1 to 5 paws, and I want to make sure that you guys understand that the rating system is purely based on my first impression. It's not a rating system that compares a particular item with another from the same range or from a different brand. I don't have enough experience and I haven't used enough art supplies in order to make a side comparison, so really the rating system I'm using is purely based on my first impression of how I think those art supplies behave and whether I like them or not. So keep in mind, my opinion, it's very subjective and it's not supposed to necessarily reflect how you would feel about those art supplies. Disclaimer made, let's move on. I used the 8B pencil to shade the phone off camera, and I'm gonna add some water over it and hopefully get a dark, nice tone. What I'm going for here is some contrast, because these colors are very similar, so I'm trying to create some contrast because there's not really much of a variety with this color palette, and I'm afraid everything is just gonna look much of a muchness at the end. Thankfully, I'm able to get quite a dark tone with this pencil, but the secret here is to add very little water. My brush is barely wet at all. Because these pencils are graphite, they are not completely black, they have that very dark grey color. I'm really impressed with the quality of these pencils. Even with the tiniest amount of water, the graphite just melts under the brush. It still looks like graphite, but it looks as if I blended very well the pencil. Overall, I rate these pencils a solid 4 out of 5 paws because they behaved exactly how they promised they would. Even though these pencils are fantastic, I don't see myself reaching for them just because they are not the type of art supply I regularly use. So I will be putting them in my giveaway box, and when that giveaway takes place, hopefully someone will get to enjoy them. The watercolor paper was okay, I did enjoy the texture, and even though it buckled just a little bit, that was to be expected. Overall, I rate this paper a 4 out of 5 paws. Because I have so much watercolor paper of this particular type, the remaining 6 sheets of paper will also go into the giveaway box. The liquid pencil paints were really enjoyable, I did have a lot of fun working with them, I liked the overall effect that they give. They come out of the tube looking metallic, but they are not really metallic, I think it's just the graphite pigment showing as such when the paint is thick in the tube, but once you lay it on the paper it's perfectly matte and it looks like graphite. 4 out of 5 paws for these paints because they deserve them. I do enjoy doing pencil sketches and pencil art, especially when I'm doing realism, but I do prefer working with a pencil in the traditional way where you can see the shading and the pencil strokes. Because of that, I don't see myself reaching for these paints in the future. I do like them, I think they are really good quality, they do give you that graphite look at the end, but it's not really my type of pencil work, I guess. I was thinking whether I should put them in the giveaway box, but I decided against it because these paints are very small. I did use quite a lot of them in this illustration, so I don't feel like I should give you guys anything that's like half used. Plus, I had a little bit of an accident with the grey paint. The plastic lid that screws on top of the tube, I don't think it was very hermetic for the grey paint, and it leaked on my desk and I lost quite a lot of paint because of that. And after I cleaned it up, I tried to screw the cap even tighter and it didn't work. It leaked again for a second time. So there's definitely some kind of design flaw with that particular tube. I didn't have any issues with the other ones, with the yellow and the blue, but the grey one is just a nightmare. I have no idea how to store it, so it would stop leaking. So I guess I'm gonna have to find a way to use these paints in the future, maybe in other videos if the opportunity presents itself. I don't like wasting art materials, so I think I'll definitely find a use for them. You can see me here trying to erase some of the graphite from the drawing in order to create some highlights. It wasn't really easy and it wasn't really working because the Derwent pencils just do not want to lift. But the eraser is really good. I do like it a lot for regular graphite. And I think this is the one art supply I'm gonna get the most use out of. Therefore, I'm gonna rate it a 3.5 paws out of 5. Because it didn't quite lift the pencil as it was supposed to, but it's still a good eraser. You've probably seen in my previous videos a very knackered eraser that I keep using that is also a Koh-I-Noor eraser. It's called Hardmood 300 by 20. It is the best eraser I was able to find so far and I'm really satisfied with the way it erases. If you're ever curious about any art supplies I'm using, if I'm not mentioning them in the video, have a look in the description box below because I do list all of them there. And this is the final illustration for July 2020 ScrawlrBox Challenge. I did struggle with this one. I feel like I kind of failed the challenge, but there it is. I hope you guys enjoyed this video and I want to thank you very much for watching. I'll see you next time. Take care. Bye bye.